From the land where soju is cheaper than bottled water, this is the Soul Podcast. I'm King Sejong, reminding you to take off your shoes before entering. And here are your hosts, Emma Kalka and Joe McPherson.
And welcome to the Soul Podcast. This is Joe.
And Emma. Oh,
Thank you.
Pippin.
And Pippin. Pippin is with us today. Pippin
As always.
doesn't pay attention unless we're doing a show. Has to be there.
He's
Has the-
always got it. I walked in. I've been home for almost 2 hours, and he didn't bother me at all. As soon as I set up to start recording, immediately he runs in and is like, I have to be in your lap. So,
Has the OD tongue hanging out.
yeah, he just wants to be a star, I guess. Picked a different podcast, dude.
Hey.
Maybe he can be a podcast star.
There we go. Yeah, lots has happened since we were last did a show before Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, the Halloween that was canceled, but not really canceled.
You were there. How did that turn out? How off was my prediction?
I forgot what your prediction was.
Well, I said Halloween was canceled.
Oh, it was not canceled. A lot of so I was over at HBC for a spell, and yeah, like a lot of the venues over there closed down voluntarily. But there was one or two, like 3 or 4 places were still open. But what ended up happening, but they were, 2 of them, I don't know. One, I know definitely for sure was very much limiting the amount of people they were allowing inside. Just because it was one of the smaller places, and they were very aware of the limits, and they're like, okay, we want to make sure that we try and stick to, we're going to stay open. Because all the other businesses are shut down, so they're like, why would we close? Everybody's gonna come here.
Yeah.
No, they stayed open, but you had to sign in, you had to do your temperature check, you had to do, all the hand sanitizing and stuff, keep your mask on if you weren't drinking or something. But what ended up happening, which is basically what everybody predicted, is everyone just kind of gathered on the street and drank, which we all knew that was going to happen. Even if every single bar had shut down in that area, people were just going to hang out on the street and drink. Oh, I can't hear you. You're gone completely mute. Yeah. Sorry.
I am back.
There you are. Yeah.
I was saying the Seoul government didn't know that.
Well, now they will. But no, like it wasn't a massive crowd. Like it wasn't, because I go out in HBC regularly and kind of hop around from place to place. It wasn't nearly as many people that are usually out for Halloween.
Okay.
So the numbers were not massive, and even like the people who were out, people were in masks.
It's Halloween.
It wasn't like we were all standing super, super close together. We were kind of spread out. The police drove by a few times and like shouted over their loudspeaker, put your masks on, and like anybody who was like, oh right, yeah, because sometimes you'll take it off to take a drink and you might forget to slip it back on, but
because you're drunk. Yeah.
Drunk people.
Yeah, drunk people.
It wasn't anything like Halloween typically is in in any sort of Itaewon area. I didn't go over to Itaewon. That was the main area that people were definitely staying away from, just because, I mean, especially because most of the people that were out that night, it was all people who lived in the area and who had been living in the area. And we all know we don't even go to Halloween in Itaewon when there's not a pandemic.
Yeah.
Because it gets so crowded and so crazy.
No one likes, no one like crowds.
Yeah. So
it's not fun.
I mean,
not fun. I mean, really, what is the fun of mashing meat with strangers?
I know. And like, you know, people are looking at the foreign community like, oh, you guys, you do Halloween in Itaewon. I was like, no, we don't, because we know how horrible it is.
Yeah, watch Itaewon Class. You know, that was Halloween 2019, even though technically it was in November. And they had a hunt for foreigners to put in that scene, in the Halloween scene in Itaewon Class.
Yeah, because I mean, I've only been over to Itaewon once for Halloween, and I was there for a few hours, and then I was like, too much. And it was mostly by and far way more Koreans than foreigners.
Well, I mean, I think the foreigners were just as much the minority there as they are in the rest of the country, like maybe 2%.
Yeah. I mean, though I will say that, I mean, where I was hanging out for Halloween this year, it was predominantly foreigners. But again, it was in a neighborhood where a lot of foreigners live. And so it was literally just people, it was literally just people walking down the street from their house to hang out.
The only Koreans you see at Haebangchun are at Bonnie's Pizza.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and Seoul Vinyl. Seoul Vinyl is mostly Korean.
Oh.
It's a vinyl bar.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, you know, was it the smartest thing? Probably not. But, you know, everybody had a mask. And nobody was standing super, super close together. Most of the places were closed. So a lot of people were just kind of hanging out outside, which is probably better because there's more space.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it wasn't a huge, massive amount of people, to be honest. It wasn't like scores and scores and scores of like all the foreigners in Korea descended upon Haebangchun for Halloween. It wasn't anything like that.
No, a lot of people stayed home.
Who lived in the area.
I mean, we had a lot of people on the Dark Side tour that evening. That was nice. 22.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was Halloween. People want to do something for Halloween.
Yeah, the Dark Side tour is COVID safe.
Yeah, and you know, I had some friends who were doing small house parties with like a limited number of people, just you know, just so like you weren't out wherever with who knows.
Yeah,
who's been wherever.
And so far, I've not heard of any cluster traced to Itaewon or anything related to Halloween.
Yeah, so far there have been no COVID cases resulting from any sort of Halloween gathering or shindig.
No,
so.
The closest I have found is a cluster of Yonsei University students, but that's not even related to Halloween or Itaewon. That's over in Shincheon.
Yeah.
But that's the closest I got to a demographic where there's a cluster of people who might have been there on Halloween.
Well, yeah, and like right now, because you know we do have that big uptick that's happening at the moment where cases just are going up, and we're third day over 300.
Yeah, which I think my family back in the States are like 300 in the whole country. 300, not in your neighborhood. 300.
Yeah, pretty much the same with mine. Like, I mean, my sister doesn't even, they don't even bother asking about me anymore because it's gotten so much worse over in America that they don't even bother worrying about me. They're like, you are probably in one of the safest countries to be in during this pandemic. We don't worry about you.
So how's Panic's Oklahoma girl now? You can go back in time. Remember Oklahoma girl?
I know. I wonder what Oklahoma girl's thinking right now.
Yeah, Oklahoma girl at the beginning of the pandemic.
I feel like there were two, because there were two different articles.
Oh, there were two different articles, but they were both in Oklahoma?
I don't quote me on that. I think they might be, but I know one was definitely from Oklahoma.
I think one went home and one sent something from a bus, that like a picture of her on a bus and saying Seoul is a ghost town. But this is at the beginning of the pandemic, before it really hit America hard. And they were talking about how, Korea is the epicenter of the pandemic and it is a ghost town. It's like zombie land here.
No, that's Wuhan, China, but okay.
Well, that was, but Korea was the first big epicenter outside of China.
True, yeah, it was. And then we're still, we're nowhere near close to any of the other big epicenters. Like, we just hit 30,000 cases like yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it today or yesterday?
Just the exodus of the scared first year ESL teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Now I bet they're like, damn, I wish I stayed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder what you're thinking now.
I don't know. I mean, I can't really. Yeah, Oklahoma does have it pretty bad. I mean, like I told you before, I don't know if I've mentioned on the podcast, but I had 6 members of my family in Oklahoma get COVID all
They got
once.
it? Yeah.
My 4 grandparents and then an aunt and uncle.
No, my brother had a scare and he thought he had it, but he tested negative, but his roommate had it.
Oof.
Our roommate was somewhere where they had it. Something like that. I don't know, but he was scared.
Maybe came in contact with someone who had it.
Yeah, he isolated. He felt he had symptoms, but then he got tested and didn't seem to have it.
I mean, in the last few weeks in Korea, I've had I had a slight scare, but several of my friends have had scares where like their teachers and like a kid has come into school with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they just completely shut down the school. Everybody's got to get tested. But then thankfully nobody else in the school had it, from what I understand.
Yeah, there have been a few schools. We're talking about that now, aren't we? Yeah. I wrote down Sinchon Yonsei. Yeah, there's a middle school in Gyeongsangnam-do.
This was an elementary school somewhere in Seoul.
Oh.
This was a couple weeks ago. It was a few weeks. No, this was before Halloween.
Oh, okay, okay. So I'm talking about current as of our recording.
Yeah.
But the current ones I was able to gather from the news: religious gatherings in northern and southern Seoul. Surprise, surprise. A university hospital in Gwangju. Facility for disabled people in Cheolwon. That's such a hard one to pronounce. It's Cheolwon.
I hate that word. I actually had to say it. I had to say it the other day at work. I was like, I hope I said that right. They didn't make me do it again.
Cheolwon.
Yeah, but in English they put an R in there, and it's just like
But in English it's spelled like Cheorwon.
Cheorwon. Yeah, it's Cheorwon.
Cheerwine.
Yeah, it's mostly been nursing homes.
Churches and hospitals.
And private family gatherings.
And then the Incheon family gathering.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of like, I think, in social gatherings, because not long ago they had one. It was a bunch of people got together for a golf day, and then like 30 people ended up with COVID-19 from it.
Gosh, I really hope they feel stupid.
It's crazy. So it's like you have, on Halloween, you have all these people going out to bars and stuff, not getting sick. And then like our numbers are just going up exponentially because of just people getting together with their families.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's one guy in the Korean coronavirus Facebook group that keeps saying, oh, this is the Halloween cluster. And everyone's like, where's the evidence for that?
There's no Halloween cluster.
He's just trolling.
I don't know if we're all just like super lucky or what, but again, like in our normal everyday life, we follow all the guidelines. We wear our masks, we wash our hands, we keep socially distanced. We get our temperature checked pretty much every day, like at least 5 or 6 times a day, depending on if you go into like coffee shops or whatever.
True.
So yeah, like for me personally, I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be very careful about what I post on Facebook about this, because I just don't want people to tell. I know I'm doing something that is potentially very stupid, but
You
I'm gonna be
are.
very smart. Yeah. But I'm
What?
going to wear my mask, and I'm going to be very as safe as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a lot of effort into my costume.
Aww.
It's absolutely no excuse. But I wasn't the only one.
Your costume for Halloween or your costume for your birthday?
Halloween.
Ah.
I haven't made my birthday costume yet, but no, I mean, I'm not in charge of that. Like, the venue owner is the one who's gonna make the call on that. So if numbers are still looking bad next week, my birthday party for December 4th was gonna be canceled or postponed. Which is the smart thing to do.
Smart thing to do. Pass on your birthday a bit.
It will make me cry. I'm like, you know what? It's better to be healthy and to make sure that nobody else gets sick.
Yes.
So
yes.
And I mean, lots of people have had to cancel their birthday. So
I never even had birthday parties. What are those?
Oh, it's something I do every year.
Yeah, I don't.
My family is always big on birthday parties, so it's to not do anything for my birthday.
Birthdays are just for me. Birthdays are just days to be disappointed.
No, I love it. It's like the one day I can get away with forcing everybody to talk about me.
No, I just have to thank a few hundred people on Facebook for clicking the happy birthday button. And that's it. I don't do nothing special.
Honestly, I think for me, especially the last 8 years or so, my birthday has become kind of a big thing, because the month of November for me personally is like a really shitty month. Because so many people in my family have died in the month of November, and my birthday is literally the first week of December. So I always would do kind of a big something for my birthday to kind of be like, hey, I survived another November. Let's, chill out, have fun.
Yeah, okay. That gives it a lot more meaning.
Yeah, see, that's why, I mean, I'm not just one of those people where I'm like, oh, let's have a day where everybody focuses on me. It's not so much that. I like having big birthdays because, again, the month of November is just always a bad month, and I want to have something to cheer me up. So I do a big birthday party, usually involving costumes, and, go out and have dinner with my friends, and then go get some drinks. Of course, last year no one showed up, so that was kind of sad.
See, I think that's why I stopped doing birthdays. It's sad when you make a party and people don't show up.
Yeah, but that was like the only time, that I think I had a birthday party and nobody showed up.
So
that was because I was like really late on promoting and like inviting people. So
no, that's it. Planning. So we're at 1.5 level social distancing now on our weird scale.
That I still don't completely understand.
No, people don't understand, because after they made that scale, they started fudging the numbers of what how many people had to get sick before. Sunshine is already at level 2, and that means gatherings of 100 or more are banned, and virus-prone businesses are suspended. So that means game parlors, norebangs.
Yeah, norebangs,
nightclubs, but not churches. Are they?
Churches. No, they should. I think they are. I think churches
really
were classified as a high
facility. since they keep happening in churches, they close the churches.
Yeah, well, they did close the churches, and then they reopened them, and there you go.
Yeah.
Gyms is another one. There's like 12 types of high risk facilities. So like bars, clubs,
Gyms.
noraebang, PC bang,
Yeah.
churches, those places.
Okay. PC rooms. Who even uses PC rooms anymore?
Gamers who can't afford to buy their own game setup.
Everyone's using phones these days. All right. Anyway, you don't see them anymore. And they know you can't smoke in them anymore.
And now you can't eat in them anymore.
What's the point?
That's a COVID rule. You're not allowed to eat in PC bongs anymore.
Oh well.
Yeah. But yeah, so right now, they're waiting. The threshold to go up to level 2 in Seoul is for the daily average over a 7-day period to hit 200. And right now we're at 153.
Oh, okay. For the Seoul area itself, not for the country.
For the Seoul area. Yeah. The minister did a big speech today and was just like, everybody, please stay home. Don't cancel you don't have your year-end gatherings.
Yeah.
Don't meet up with your family. Stay at home.
Don't do any non-essential outdoor activities. I'm like what?
Yeah.
Outdoor. Like, have you seen the weather lately? Outdoor activities.
No one wants to be outdoors right now. We're about to hit Korean winter. No one wants to be outside.
I think the opposite is what's happening is like, no, since it's cold outside, everyone's going to be huddled indoors in hot, humid environments spreading this virus. Outdoor activities, that's actually what you should be encouraging is outdoor activities where people are like in the open air where it can dissipate distance from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Non-essential outdoor. I think they meant that leaving your house. Maybe.
I think like that maybe that might have been something that got like lost in translation.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, don't hike the mountain. Get corona.
Yeah. Who's hiking a mountain right now? It's been rain. It rained all day yesterday.
Dude, you ever live near a mountain? There's always people hiking.
Yeah.
Always.
So, I think it meant like by non-essential outdoor activities, they're meaning non-essential activities outside of your home.
No skydiving.
For the Americans in the area, no one's doing Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, only a few restaurants are doing Thanksgiving. I know Route 66, they're really promoting it, and California Kitchen, Southside Parlor. But even then, I mean, even though they're good, they seem a little more subdued than they have been in the past.
Yeah.
Usually... Mm-hmm. As in, I'm not seeing any like really over the top menus. I'm seeing just basics like mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And
and usually there's like a lot of private gatherings of like people getting together.
Yeah, we canceled ours. We usually have a private gathering with our neighbors, and we canceled it way early. Besides, it's hard to get a turkey this year. Really harder than usual. Now, Korea's always been notoriously hard to get turkeys. Mm-hmm. Then I think it was around 2016, 2015, 2016, maybe 2017, there was a shortage of American turkeys, like the shipment didn't come in. And so they're trying to replace them with Korean turkeys. And the word from people I knew in the food business was like, they're awful. We tested them. They're disgusting. We can't use them. Like the skin is too thick and rubbery, and they're too bony. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm still waiting to hear if we're canceling officially or not, but I'm supposed to go to a dinner gathering thing this weekend, which usually there's only like 3 of us that go, but we might be canceling. It's a monthly thing that we usually do.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a small one. I was going to
make my grandmother's like cheesy potato casserole.
That sounds yummy.
It's super yummy. I already bought all the ingredients to make it. So Yeah, honestly, even if it gets canceled, I'm gonna be making it anyway.
Just make it anyway, and we're gonna do. I'm planning on doing just a sides only Thanksgiving this year.
Honestly, that's what my mom did for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would all get so full on appetizers that when we actually sat down to have like Christmas, not really dinner, but like it would usually be like a late lunch.
Yeah, that's what we
were
did
all
too.
too full to eat anything. So she's like, fine, I'm not going to waste my time and energy on cooking like a full meal if you guys are just going to get full on appetizers.
Yeah.
So Christmas became an appetizer thing.
For us, it's really breakfast. Christmas breakfast. We do great breakfast.
We would do, yeah, see, that's the thing. We would do a big Southern breakfast. And then after a few hours, Mom would start putting out appetizers while she and Grams were finishing up lunch, which lunch would typically be around like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Which sounds fine. That sounds beautiful. But that's when you get out the nice china and silverware, break out some wine, maybe let the kids have a glass. Things like that. Because my family's Catholics, drunk Catholics, Mardi Gras Catholics. Yeah.
But I mean, there might maybe. Well, Christmas is not a big family holiday in Korea, so
no. But that's
Christmas won't be canceled.
But that's for me though. It's when you're in a foreign country, you cling to your traditions even more.
Same.
I'm so hardcore about Christmas in Korea now. I actually, right the day after Halloween, I switched to my Christmas mix on my earphones. This is the latest I've gone without putting out my decorations. Have not done it yet, but I plan to this weekend.
I'm still very much a day after Thanksgiving Christmas decorations go up.
No. Lately, I've been doing it right after Halloween. I just want the season to last so long because it is my. You have to prepare. You have to set up enough of an energy shield to stave off the Mariah Carey.
I have to admit, Christmas in Korea is going to be interesting this year because it's such like a big go out, leave the house, and do something.
Oh God, go to Myeongdong and crap like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but everything's going to possibly be shut down. So I don't know. Maybe to Koreans, it won't be a huge change.
No, I'm more worried about year-end stuff. All the year-end celebrations.
Yeah, that's the major thing for next.
They're not going to stop it. People are still going to do that. Always. And the bosses are going to take their employees out all the time for the horrible hayshik.
That was one of the things that the prime minister was like, please don't do this today.
But they're going to do it.
Don't do your year-end gatherings. I'm like, you're starting early with that.
Well, yeah, he's starting it. Yeah. He's just trying to get it into people's minds. Like, this is when they're planning it. They're going to do it. Everyone's going to do it. And everyone's going to be huddled inside. And then they're going to do the most non-essential outdoor activity, in my opinion, which is climbing a mountain to watch the sunrise on New Year's Day.
I'm sleeping off my hangover.
The last thing I want to do on New Year's Day is to climb a freezing mountain and watch a sunrise. I mean, okay, I like sunrises, but I like a sunrise when I just happen to have woken up and I'm at a beach. That's nice.
That's a good sunrise.
Yeah. I'm comfortable. I don't want to climb up a mountain in the middle of the night, freezing, to watch something you can do any day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, for me, like I hold on to my traditions for Christmas and Halloween, but New Year's, screw New Year's. That's just a day for me. That's about as disappointing as my birthday is New Year's. I've yet to have a fun New Year's. I've never had a fun New Year's. It's always been disappointing.
I have fun for most of New Year's.
You know what? The most fun New Year's I've had was recording the show in 2008, 2009. We had a giant, like all these people on the show. That's back when we were using Skype, so it was very difficult to keep it all going. Barack Obama had just won just surprised everyone and won the presidency.
Oh,
And-
that would have been a good one.
And we freaked out. We did the countdown on the air. King Sejong did the countdown. That was a fun show.
If we're back in lockdown, we could do something like that.
That's not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea. We did it live. We did it. That was the one time I really tried to get us to do it live, and I think 2 people watched us live.
I don't like spending New Year's Eve alone. So if I'm not at a big party, I'm usually somewhere with my friends.
Okay, I'm going to depress you. It's like I do that too, and I usually do still spend my New Year's Eve alone. I'm always by myself. Even with the girls here, they're usually asleep, so I'm just here by myself with a bottle of wine and just watching its own TV.
The last 2 years I went to the GSM party, but after 2 years in a row, people were stealing our bottles off of our table. So last year I told the one of the guys that runs it, I was like, nope, this is it. Like, I'm not coming back to this party. Groove is not promoting this party anymore because you guys can't get your freaking. We were in the VIP area, and I'm just like, what on earth? Like, other VIP table people are walking over. Like, we literally watched a guy from a table next to us walk over to our table, pick up one of our bottles, and start to walk away. And we're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
No, that's our bottle. We paid for that.
This
if
is
you
not
want another bottle, order another bottle.
It's not a Korean wedding.
No, and then there was foreigners. It was just
God.
I don't. Yeah, it was. So we just decided last year, like, because that was the second year in a row that we did it, and we were just like, you know what, we're not going to do this. Why do we do this every year? We're not.
All right, I'm ignorant. What is GSM?
Glow Soulmates. So they do a lot of big themed parties. Like, they do a big Gatsby. Not this year, but usually they do a big Gatsby, like, 1920s party in September.
Oh.
And then they do a huge New Year's party. This year they did it. Last year they did it. This year. I don't know. The last one they did, it was at the Imperial Palace Hotel. The year before that, it was at the Floating Islands. Which is also where they tend to hold their. Wait, is that where they held the Gatsby party? No, some yacht club. They held it there. But,
and I think another yacht club. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just, and then they do they would typically do like a huge Halloween party every year, but obviously they've done nothing this year. So, because their parties were like over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But after last year, we were like, no, people keep stealing our shit. We're not going.
We'll
back.
see if enough. Honestly, if enough people, enough listeners to this show want it, we'll do a Soul podcast.
Let us know. Do you want us to do a live podcast on New Year's Eve?
We'll just bring anyone in on the Zoom call and just like, hey, you want to join us?
Yeah. Dude, let's get like a giant ass Zoom party going on.
That'd be fun. You know what? That would actually be a lot more fun, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It could be, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a lot more fun.
You think it'll be fun? I think it'll be fun. I will definitely get all dolled up in my New Year's Eve, because that's half the fun. For me, at least, that's half the fun of New Year's Eve, is getting like all dressed up.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay. I really don't know. Like I said, man, I've always just been by myself in front of the TV.
We all have to buy like our own bottles of champagne. Well, not you, because you don't drink, but everybody else that drinks will have our own bottles of champagne to cheers.
I'll get my Christian sparkling cider or something.
There you go. It's a deal.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to assemble this thing. I got like this fake.
So
I got this fake Lego Baby Yoda thing, and
I still have not watched The Mandalorian.
Oh, and it doesn't have instructions, so I have to figure this one out.
Yeah, surely it's not that hard.
Well, this one only has 3 pieces, but the other one is like tiny little pieces that'll fall apart. Anyway, other news. I'm just going to go through this really quickly. I just think it's hilarious. Korean Air is buying Asiana, which I heard was in the works for a while.
Yeah,
but
now it's official.
Which is, I'm sorry, I just, it's Hanjin. It's the nut rage people. It's like one of those chaebol families that is very much the Jerry Springer chaebol family. They're the worst.
Yeah,
they're
funny enough.
They're like the villains. They were like the villains in every Korean drama.
Yeah. Dude, did you hear the wife? Her sentence just got upheld a couple days ago.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a suspended sentence, but
This is the one when she threw that fit and she hit some people at a hotel?
she was like she like the people that like the cleaning staff that worked at their house.
Oh,
she
yeah.
would, like, physically and verbally abused them, and then she kicked like a driver and like threw something at another person, and
psycho.
Yeah. It's like 2 years, 2 years in prison, 3 years suspended.
You see, wonder where the other kids got it from.
Yeah. Like,
that's
I
like normal
where
behavior.
got it from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah. The owner's wife, and the owner's dead, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he died. Son took it over. Well, it was a power struggle between the son and sister.
Well,
and the son won.
Solved when sister went to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're just a nasty family, nasty people,
like,
and now it feels like they're winning by buying Asiana.
Well, and Asiana didn't really have much of a choice from the way it looks. They were just, because this is not I think it was HDC, right? Hyundai Development Company tried to buy them out first.
Mm-hmm.
And then that had too many problems. So Korea Air was just kind of like waiting in the background.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's move in and take it. And they're like,
Behind
this is not
tree.
a monopoly. And I'm like, you now own pretty much all the airlines in Korea, but this is not a monopoly.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're like, oh, well, it's not official until they tell us that the court's got to make a ruling on like the monopoly stuff. But I mean, they're going to end up buying it.
Yeah. So we have transportation alternatives. We might get a Hyperloop.
A Hyperloop.
I want a
Explain
Hyperloop.
that to me again. I was looking
Hyperloop.
at that, like,
okay. Hyperloop is like a train inside a vacuum tube.
Okay.
And it can go. Remember, you're at the bank and you put that thing in the vacuum tube at the drive-through. Yeah, that's basically what it is. And it can go when you in a vacuum. You can go really, really, really fast. And so you can go. Right now, our KTX train goes from Seoul to Busan in 3 hours?
2.5, 3 hours. Yeah.
2.5 hours. It would be less than 30 minutes now. So you can actually commute between Seoul and Busan every day.
I mean, it still doesn't help for when you want to leave the country, but
no. But Korea might be one of the first countries to implement a functional Hyperloop system because it has its public transportation. They have their act together when it comes to public transportation.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that. That'd be really cool.
I just think the headline was funny. It said Hyperloop. This is from the Independent. Hyperloop achieves 1,000 kilometers per hour speed in Korea days after Virgin passenger test. I'm like, okay, now that they had.
I saw that. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, Virgin passengers. Okay, well, what about people who are not K-pop fans?
That's not a very thing.
It's funny because it's true. Speaking of K-pop, I also came up with this. Hold on, let me pull up the.
Wait, hold on. I think I need to let me grab my wine if we're gonna get into this.
Nah.
No, I just forgot to bring the bottle in.
Yeah. We're gonna go grab her booze.
Oh no, are you talking about the law that passed in committee today?
What happened in committee?
No, the law that would allow K-pop artists who have contributed to Korea's dignity. I'm sorry, national status, would be allowed to postpone military service until they're 30.
No, I haven't. No, did that pass? That's big whoop. Yeah, you're right, Pippin.
Yeah, it passed a committee, and they're saying that it's probably going to pass in a plenary session soon.
No.
So BTS will most likely be allowed to put off their military service until they're 30. But anyway,
yeah,
no,
well,
you're
okay.
talking about the other music article. I actually really liked this article that you put. I hadn't seen it before, but I read it.
No, it was with a K-pop musician and InterArt CEO Park Chan-jae, basically predicting that AI will replace human composers. And I'm like, but isn't all of K-pop machine made anyway? And already they said like one in October, someone debuted with a song that was composed by AI. I'm like, yeah, everything is manufactured anyway.
I like when I saw that headline, I was like, I got my feathers got a little bit ruffled because I'm a huge music fan.
Yeah.
And I've never tried writing music. I don't think I could, but I studied piano for 11 years. I played many different instruments. I don't consider myself a musician now, but I definitely was a musician.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it is to write music.
So I was depends on the type of music. Most pop music, especially K-pop music, is very easy to write. It's all pre-made formulas, and you just pick stuff off the shelf and you just assemble it. And there you go, you got a song.
Yeah. But but then I read it and I found myself, I agree with him in a lot of the points that he made. And the major point that he was making is that AI can take over the sort of K-pop thing that doesn't require, I guess, in his words, an extreme amount of talent.
It doesn't.
And then, so AI could take that over, and then musicians or composers could focus their efforts on being more creative. Basically, it's a way to kind of weed out, I think, like the lazy composers.
I mean, I would say that the people who write K-pop are as much composers as much the guy making your Big Mac is a chef. They're just assembling things.
Yeah.
And it's all, I mean, I write music. And so it is all, I mean, you can just pick it all apart. But a lot of pop is that way. Pop has always been that way.
This is not just something that is.
It's not
K-pop.
Korean pop. I mean, I stopped listening to the radio in the late 80s. It was like, oh my God. All you had to do was walk away from the radio for 6 months and come back and listen to Top 40 again and realize, oh my God, that is all crap. When you're not in it all the time and you walk away and you go back in it and you realize, oh my, everything is just a simple formula. Oh. And a lot of it, I mean, there's some stuff that breaks through that's actually well done, well made, but that stuff actually lasts. But most of it is cotton candy that melts on your tongue and you forget about it.
Right. And the ones that last, they last. And they're geniuses.
Yeah. Because, I mean, who can remember K-pop? People listen in the K-pop. Do you remember much? Who was big 5 years ago? Do you remember much of the songs that were big 5 years ago that was played in every grocery store 5 years ago? But people listening to American pop too. I mean, do you remember a lot of the bands that have come and gone that well? Do you still listen? For someone, when I stopped listening
I do occasionally still listen to Backstreet Boys.
Well, but they had
They still put out music.
I hated them back then, but they had staying power. They actually had talent.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I will go back and say they actually had, and you know what? I was one of the few people who defended Hanson when they got big because they wrote their own music and they actually could play instruments.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and Mbop's a well composed song. Yeah, but who remembers like Snow? No one remembers who that is.
Case in point, I'm like, who's Snow?
Snow.
You weren't
Snow-
born yet, so.
Snow was, I think, it was big in 1992 as a rapper. But he was so. I worked in the music store at the time, and people would just always come in and we want Snow, and they couldn't keep it off the. We couldn't keep it in stock. It was so big, and no one remembers who Snow is now. You know, there's stuff like that.
But I mean, I still listen to a lot of the bands that I listened to in high school. They're actually still making music. Weezer's still making music.
Yeah, oh God, but man, I'm glad I don't have to hear Smash Mouth if I don't have to.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they're still together.
I don't give a shit.
But Weezer, Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, they're all still together, all still making music. Actually, Panic at the Disco, their later albums are pretty damn good.
Well, good. Just all the Smash Mouth music sounded like kids taunting at the playground. They all sounded like nee 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 nee. That's all their songs sounded like that.
Might as well be walking on the sun.
Oh God, stop it!
At least I didn't do All Star.
That's the worst one. That is the worst one.
Yeah. But no, he had an interesting take. And I think that a lot of his argument, he was talking very specifically about K-pop, but I think a lot of his arguments could be made for the pop genre as a whole. You know, get AI making like all the bops, and then the composers can, if, you know, a composer wants to survive in the industry, they can actually put time, effort, and talent into what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the ones who are not talented and who are just coasting by, well, but then a part of that was also he wanted to show that music is for everyone. And so create this AI program where even normal people could make music.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like just a twofold thing.
How people are DJs now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And underneath is, hold on. Is that okay? There's a picture of this group called Espa. How many girls in that photo are actually real, and how many of them are real dolls? Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, they're virtual.
Yeah, that's their thing. They have.
Oh, they're virtual. Okay.
Virtual counterparts. Dude, you were doing.
I missed the joke. Okay.
Yeah, no. If you in the article it says that they have like AI virtual counterparts.
Yeah.
Which, okay, cool.
But to me, if you're doing K-pop with AI, at least you have I in there, because right now it's only A. Mm-hmm. It's only artificial. No intelligence in it. All right. Here we go. Middle-aged white guy talking about K-pop. All right.
I'm always very, very, very careful about what I say in a public forum about K-pop.
Because we'll be attacked.
I don't really feel very strongly one way or the other about it. I'm mostly just me.
I just joke about it. I don't get angry about it. I just make fun of it. It's low-hanging fruit to make fun of. I've said this on the Dark Side of Soul podcast. There are a few K-pop songs, but because just like any other pop music, every now and then you get something that's well made. Right. And it has lasting power. Really like. Yeah. But most of it is cotton candy on the tongue. It's lazily made. It's put together. There's more work goes into the choreography than the music. Mm-hmm. But the choreography is great. Yeah,
the choreography is amazing. Yeah.
But
yeah, right, Pippin.
It's what we said a long time ago. It's they're basically cheerleading teams.
Mm-hmm. Which that shit is hard.
Yeah, it is. But
I was on dance team for 5.5 years. It's definitely a sport. Oh my God. I was in the best shape of my life when I was dancing. I was on.
I'm thinking of Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry.
It was nothing like that. Nothing like that. I was doing like triple pirouettes, switch leaps, axle turns. It was hard.
All part of your next burlesque show.
I can't do nearly half. I can't even do like a third of the things that I used to do.
Everyone wants to watch you attempt it.
If I put any of it in a burlesque routine, it's something that I can either still do or I've been practicing it a lot.
And you can do it on our live New Year's Eve show.
Emma attempts to do a single pirouette without falling over.
Poor Pippin trips her up.
Yeah, he probably would. He's a little asshole like that. As you can see right now. He's
Oh my God, the dumbest thing. I didn't even add this to the notes. The dumbest thing, going back to transportation. So they're doing these international flights that don't land.
Oh my God, yes, we had a story on that the other day. I had to call up the reporter and ask her exactly what she was talking about. Because I'm like, do you mean like direct flight? Are we talking about like direct flights? Like she's like, no, it's like you get on a plane, it takes off in Korea, it flies to another country, you look out the window, and you turn around and you come back. And I'm
That's
like,
on the photo, some guy holding it with a selfie stick, holding a camera at a window. Like, really, come on, dude. You even that one, you're just gonna. Are you really gonna sit and watch the video of that and remember? Oh, I remember that great vacation. Really, dude.
They're basically sightseeing flight tours, but they're in a 747, which can't go low enough to actually see anything worth seeing.
It's like I can see more on Google Earth.
But people are doing it,
and because people are dumb. But this thing, now they're going to give duty-free benefits for these flights.
Yeah, you can go. No, and I'm pretty sure the only reason why people are going to start doing it now is to use duty-free.
They want their.
We don't care about.
They want their Louis Vuitton bags.
Anyway.
God,
okay.
So
wait. I think that little speck there—that's Mount Fuji. Woo.
You know what I miss about traveling is coach.
Yes, I so miss flying economy. Oh my God.
Yes.
That was basically the conversation that we had. I was just like, why do people do this? And like, well, some people like flying in planes. I'm like,
I do love flying in planes. It's part of the fun, but I still want to go somewhere.
A plane is just I like flying in planes, but I don't like flying commercial. Sorry.
Yeah, I like flying private.
No, yeah, I've never flown private. No, my grandfather was a pilot, and so growing up, he would fly World War II airplanes in air shows, and so he would always take me up. One
fun!
Plane he flew for years was this C-41 Twin Beach called the Canadian Queen. It was from the Royal Canadian Air Force. And that was his plane that he flew for years and years. And so he would always take me up in it. And it's an old plane, so it can't really get super, super high. So that was a great sightseeing plane because you could fly low enough that you could actually see stuff.
Yeah.
And he was teaching me how to fly a plane in that thing, which was awesome because it's
that's
completely
amazing.
Analog. It's such an old plane, so everything's completely analog. And my first flying lesson was I was sitting in the co-pilot seat. Oh, sorry. My dog almost fell in my lap. Holding on like this, looking out the window because Papa's flying. And I'm just like, this is so cool. And my grandfather goes, hey, Emmy. And I look over and he's just sitting there like this. And the plane immediately starts going down. And I'm like, what the? Oh my God. I'm like, oh, nah, ah. And so I get this level. And that was like my first flying lesson. I think I was 19 when that happened.
Wow, that's like when you have your kids sit in your lap while you're driving.
Yeah, but my grandfather, it was one of my grandfather's dying wishes was that someday I would get my pilot's license. And I was like, Papa, it's a lot more expensive than it was when you got yours.
Oh.
He got his in the 70s, and I'm like, I can't really afford that in Korea. It's really expensive, but. One of these days, hopefully, maybe someday, I can have enough money where I can get a pilot's license and fulfill my grandfather's dying wish.
That sounds lovely. Well, let's wrap up this show. I just want to say,
so we don't offend anybody else.
Well, subscribe. Please subscribe.
Please.
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where you get your podcasts, or you can if on YouTube as well. Everything's at Soul Podcast, soulpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at King Sejong, Facebook at Soul Podcast, and YouTube is Zen Kimchi. We also have a Patreon if you want to support the show. at patreon.com/SeoulPodcast. Have I mentioned everything?
Let us know what you think. Comment. Oh,
Yes.
This is going to be the one where we finally get somebody commenting.
We get lots of comments. Come on.
So many comments. So many comments. No,
All
maybe
right.
because we talked about K-pop.
Yeah, we talked about K-pop, and then we're gonna hit some search thing. Yeah, we'll get attacked.
This is why I don't talk about K-pop. I like to stay out of all of that.
All right. Well, thank you, Emma, for being on the show, for being on this week.
We're finally doing it this week.
And everyone listening, until next time, be safe out there.
Bye.
The Soul Podcast is produced by Joe McPherson and is copyrighted 2020 by Zen Kimchi International under the Creative Commons license. Parts of this podcast may be used for non-commercial purposes if you remember to give us credit. You can contact us at sejong@soulpodcast.com. That's SEJONG@soulpodcast.com. For a transcript of this episode, listen to it again and write down what you hear. Please support us at patreon.com/soulpodcast.